Procrastination is one of the most annoying experiences we can have as humans. I'm sure you've procrastinated, I'm sure I've procrastinated, and most of the people we work with at Body Brain Alliance have a big problem with procrastination. If that sounds like you, you're going to love this video because in it, I'm gonna give you 3 of my time-tested techniques that are gonna help you actually stop procrastinating. By the way, hi, my name is Dr. Karin Nordin and I am a behavior change expert. I got an entire PhD focused on the science of how people change. And now I'm on a mission to bring that change to you. So without further ado, let's get started. 3 tips to reduce procrastination. The number 1 tip I want you to try out is really actually quite fun, and it's called a dread sprint. What you're gonna do to create a dread sprint is you're going to pick the time of day on your calendar where you typically have the most energy. Maybe that's right when you start your workday, maybe that's right after lunch, maybe it's in the last hour. I want you to really think and maybe even spend a couple of days feeling into when that energy typically occurs for you. Then you're gonna block off that period of time, and I want you to label it dread sprint. During this period of time, you're gonna take a Post-it note. You're gonna write down the name of the task you've been procrastinating, and you're gonna put it right in front of you. Then you're gonna put on your most motivating music, you're gonna set your timer for 15 minutes, and you're gonna metaphorically sprint towards the finish line and actually get that thing done. There's something about visualizing this as a sprint, which is really helpful. And if you're anything like me, I really like doing this at the beginning of my day. It gets me fired up. I typically walk on my desk treadmill while I do it, so it actually feels like a sprint. And it feels so good to cross that first thing off my list. So in the comments, I want you to let me know when exactly you're going to try out your first dread sprint. I want to know date, time, and what task you're going to accomplish. That brings me to tip number 2, which is the notice and name technique. I'm going to blow your mind for a minute. Procrastination doesn't actually exist. Procrastination is a little bit like a disguise that we put on another task that is essentially hiding. What I mean by that is that if we were to play charades and I was acting out the term procrastination, I wouldn't actually be able to act anything out because, as you very well know, we can procrastinate, we can procrastinate, we can procrastinate. All sorts of different actions can be procrastinating. But when we start to use that term, procrastination, as an umbrella term that covers anything else, we lose specificity, we lose clarity, and with both of those things, we also lose accountability. Our clients deal with a lot of procrastination struggles, and as I see them get better and better and better at that as they go through the program, one of the things that they start doing is they start naming what action they're actually taking. So instead of saying, I procrastinated my work report, I want you to say, I scrolled on Instagram for an hour instead of doing my work report. Once you start doing this, you're gonna be able to identify the things that you use to procrastinate, the actions that you actually taking. And from awareness comes our ability to change. I know this tip feels really small and really simple, but trust me, I have seen it make a world of difference with a host of different people. Let me know if you're gonna try it out. Now, our first 2 techniques that we just talked about are both in the moment things that you can do to help reduce your procrastination. You can dread sprint in the morning, and when you catch yourself procrastinating, you can notice and name the task you're actually doing. I'm scrolling on Instagram instead of doing my work report. Now I'm gonna change that behavior. But if you wanna really reduce procrastination in the long run, there's something a little bit more sciencey that I wanna put up your sleeve. One of the reasons that we procrastinate is because we as humans experience something called temporal myopia. Temporal myopia is the brain equivalent of being nearsighted. In other words, you struggle to see far into the future. People who procrastinate have higher levels of temporal myopia. They don't think about the future version of themselves as often, and they don't really have a relationship with that version of themselves. You've probably heard in the self-help world, think about your future self. And that advice is actually really, really, really important. What I encourage you to do is work on developing a future self friendship where you not only think about that person, you have a clear idea of who they are, you care about them, and you do things in your daily life on a regular basis in order to support that future self. Something as simple as packing a snack for when you're hangry on your way home from work can start to forge that relationship. And even though that action has nothing to do with procrastination, the more you practice thinking of that future self, the less you'll procrastinate, because procrastination is the act of taking a task you should do today and essentially offloading it, outsourcing it to that future self. You won't do that if it's someone that you deeply, deeply care about. If you are struggling to get to know your future self, if you struggle to visualize who that version of you is, I really encourage you to try out our Future Self Map mini course. It's linked below in the description, and it is a phenomenal way to help you really go through the process of identifying who that person is, what they value, what they do on a daily basis, and how you can work towards becoming them over the next 3 to 6 months. It's one of our most well-loved resources, so I highly, highly recommend you check it out. And bonus, it's completely free. Now, there's one area of procrastination that I haven't talked about in this video, and that's bedtime procrastination, which is actually so scientifically studied that it has its own term, revenge bedtime procrastination. If you want to learn more about how to actually get your butt to sleep, I highly recommend checking out this video from our coach Jimena, who talks about what to do if you're constantly procrastinating your bedtime. In the comments, let me know which of these 3 techniques you're going to test out first, and I'll see you in the next video.